I've always admired castles. Cold, isolated, and ideally haunted. This is Nevermore Academy. Well, that's what Netflix wants you to think. Because while this castle starred as the Academy in Wednesday, the real story behind Cantacuzino is far darker and far more deliciously sinister. This isn't just a set for brooding misfits. So let's rewind and meet the original scriptwriters of this real-life gothic saga. Welcome to Shiny Boots. Today we are in Bușteni in Romania. Well, isn't this a delightful catastrophe? As I was saying, today we're in Bușteni, a place so remote it makes a graveyard seem positively bustling. Cantacuzino Castle is perched in the Carpathian Mountains, the very same ominous woods that inspired 1,000 vampire cliches. Grab your shovel, we're doing some digging. Our story begins with Gheorghe, who was head of the family. He was nicknamed the Nababul, basically the Romanian for nabob, a man so rich he made other aristocrats feel like peasants. Nababul studied law, married a vault of cash, and hoarded land like a Victorian magpie. Gheorghe climbed Romania's political ladder in record time, becoming Prime Minister twice because once was far too modest. In 1901, he commissioned for the build of Cantacuzino Castle, and it's said to have been completed in 1911. Did you catch when Gheorghe popped his clogs? Just 2 years after the completion of Cantacuzino Castle. Before you reach for your black lace handkerchief, know that Nabob had been living his best life in this palace since 1903. Gheorghe's final resting place is the Cantacuzinwho tomb at Bellu Cemetery in Bucharest. And no one can say exactly when this elegant crypt was built. The Cantacuzinos like to tell anyone and everyone that they descended from the Byzantine emperors. Specifically, Ioannis VI Cantacuzenos, or as we like to call him, John. Dear old John was Emperor of Constantinople from 1347 to 1354. John thought of himself as Constantinople's salvation, but he basically handed the Ottomans a backdoor key and watched the empire unravel faster than a cheap Halloween costume. This is what we have so far. Are the Cantacuzinos really related to the Byzantine emperors? Let's investigate further. Preferably somewhere dimly lit, where history likes to hide. After Constantinople fell in 1453, there's an eerie, century-long silence from the Cantacuzino clan. Then, almost like a ghost stepping out of the mist in the late 16th century, a certain Mihail Cantacuzenos, or Michael as we like to call him, emerges in Wallachia, reviving the family name and ambitions. Where and what is Wallachia? You know I love a good map, and I find this one from the 1700s very je ne sais quoi. Wallachia was a medieval land squished between empires founded in the 14th century. As you can see, this map is in French. Wallachia is Wallachie and is surrounded by Transylvania, Moldova, and Bulgaria. And what is that country below Bulgaria? Romania? And no, my dearest oddities, this isn't Romania. This is Rumelia, which means land of the Romans, minus the Italian accent and Rome. Rumelia was the name slapped onto the Balkan territories that the Ottomans took from the crumbling Eastern Roman Empire. Oh look, there's Petite Taterie! How charming. Let's move on to the next family member. Michael Cantacuzinwho was nicknamed Şeytanoğlu, which means son of the devil in Turkish. Şeytanoğlu. Sounds like Sean Connery's ordering a martini in the depths of hell. They even put it on his grave. How quaintly menacing. He was a dragoman who used his money and connections to control the appointment and removal of bishops in Constantinople. He'd sell these positions to the highest bidder, running the church like his private chessboard. No portraits survive of our son of the devil, but I imagine he looked like this. Michael married the daughter of a Wallachian prince, who just happened to be the grandson of Vlad the Impaler. Yes, Dracula himself. I knew Dracula would show up somewhere. At Şeytanoğlu's peak, his wealth and influence were unmatched, until the Sultan decided he'd had enough of this son of the devil and had him executed in 1578. So far, even the devil's son has offered no link to the Byzantine emperors. The search continues, and I am not afraid to knock on hell's door. Are you ready for more, or shall I fetch the fainting couch? A family tree has been unearthed. The one provided by the castle has more question marks than a midnight murder mystery. And the Cantacuzino's link to the Byzantine Empire? Hidden behind a door. As you can see here, this family tree begins with Şeytanoğlu's dad. Şeytanoğlu means son of the devil. Therefore his dad is Demetrios. Of course it is. I will be expecting my eternal damnation served with a side of olives. No birth or death date. How immortal of you. It is rumoured that Demetrios sparked the Phanariot Cantacuzino line. Phanar was the Greek quarter in Constantinople, home to wealthy Greek merchants and politicians. Phanar means lantern, Illuminati, Phanariots. For people who hide in the shadows, they're fans of good lighting. Oh, hello, Phanar Greek Orthodox College, nicknamed the Red Castle, even though it's not a castle and is said to be the 5th biggest non-castle castle in Europe. I digress. The families who were involved in the Phanariots later became princes of Wallachia and Moldavia under Ottoman rule. Ah, that's why they say better the devil you know, because he can give you a throne. Speak of the devil, that is Sherban Cantacuzino, our Prince of Wallachia, 1640 to 1688. Huh? What? Who is in charge of Cantacuzino's PR?
You are fired.
Sherban is the first Cantacuzino to become a prince. How enthralling. And you may have noticed that the original Byzantine family, who were known as the Cantacuzinos, are now the Cantacuzinos. Nothing like a good old family rebrand. Sherban was Prince of Wallachia for a decade and is known most notably for overseeing the first complete Romanian translation of the Bible. Rumour has it, Shaban Cantacuzino schemed to poison the Ottoman Sultan. Because when you're already marked for treason, why not make it interesting? The Ottomans suspected his Habsburg flirtations, and in a dark twist, Shaban supposedly swallowed his own poison first, or so the legend goes. Who, I hear you scream, are the Habsburgs? You're gonna wanna wish you kept your jaw shut, because their family tree is less royal lineage and more genetic horror show. Famed for the Habsburg jaw, these people were interbreeding like their family tree was less of a tree and more of a wreath. Their motto may as well have been, why conquer when you can marry your cousin? Oh, apart from Philip IV of Spain and Mariana of Austria, they were uncle and niece. At this point, the family tree isn't branching, it's plotting its own funeral. What's really fascinating is it was already well established by farmers that interbreeding was bad for cattle. But the Habsburgs weren't worried about milk production. They were worried about crowns. Prepare for a beheading of your illusions. But our late Queen Elizabeth II also married her cousin. Second cousin once removed, if that makes you feel any better. The Habsburgs originated from Switzerland and built their own castle in 1020, and then named the family after the castle. Habsburg. In German, Hab is the short form for haben, and Burg is a castle. This is the castle of possessions. If you look up the etymology from any other source, it will not say this. It will tell you that the root is hawk, from Habicht. In 1020, the earliest form of this castle was Habsburg. There were a few variations of Habsburg over the years. Hawk's Castle was never one of them. That's just a myth dressed up in feathers. Ironically, the word hawk itself comes from the same root, to have, to hold, to grasp. Ownership all round. Others will say the root hab is from ford or a river crossing, but there is etymologically no evidence. Let's translate some of this. In the middle, it's talking about Count Rudolf of Habsburg and how he destroyed 5 castles. But at the bottom, in Latin, it says Arx Vetusta Habsburg, long-standing ancient fortress of Habsburg, ex hac stirpe, from this lineage, oriundi, originate, hodierni Caesares Romani, today's Roman emperors. They ruled the Holy Roman Empire till 1806. These Romans kept hanging around, didn't they? The Habsburgs were Europe's ultimate power hoarders, a dynasty that ruled for nearly 700 years. They managed to claw their way up to rule Austria, Hungary, Bohemia, Spain, the Holy Roman Empire, the list goes on. The Habsburgs eventually sank their teeth into Transylvania. Makes sense. Bloodsuckers recognise their own. And Wallachia? Publicly, no. Privately, let's just say the Cantacuzinos were less kissing cousins and more kissing frenemies. All this interbreeding as a way to control the crown. Marrying your cousin in a desperate attempt to maintain power. Sounds more like paranoia in a wedding veil. So we found out that the devil's name is Demetrios, and the first Cantacuzino prince was born and died in multiple years. This web isn't webbing, it's a trap. And you, my friend, are the fly. Are you ready to continue? devours the hesitant. Ah, cute wolf. But we all know the real predators wear crowns, sit on thrones, and feast on empires. Stefan Cantacuzino rules Wallachia for 2 tense years. He's conspiring with the Habsburgs, surprise, surprise, and the Ottomans discover his plotting. Not only is Stefan executed, the Cantacuzino line of princes is extinguished for good. The Cantacuzinos survive, although the throne is stolen and handed to the Phanariots. Well, well, well. Let's welcome to the stage Radu Cantacuzino. He is world famous for being the Pretender. Enter stage left. Embrace yourself for the tragicomedy that is our man Radu. By the 18th century, Radu Cantacuzino was taking the family myth of Byzantine descent to Broadway levels. Stefan, who was his dad, has just been executed, and Radu is forced to flee to Vienna. Instead of slipping away quietly into the night, Radu took to the stage, boldly proclaiming his direct descent from Emperor John VI Cantacuzinwho. Knowing that the crown had been stolen, he decided to rewrite history in his favour. Radu created a genealogy that invented ancestors to bridge the timeline. Radu fabricated several generations of phantom ancestors to make it look like a direct, unbroken line from John VI to himself. But why stop at John VI? Radu dove headfirst into legend, claiming blood from Constantine the Great. This kind of creative genealogy was a common PR stunt among Balkan nobles at this time, forging documents and adding ghost relatives to improve your imperial street cred. When your throne dreams are smoke and mirrors, you go big or you don't live in a castle. He even updated the family coat of arms to reinforce this new narrative visually. Okay, let's recap. Is there any evidence that Constantine the Great is related to John VI Cantacuzinwho? No. I'll keep my question marks over the link between John VI and the Cantacuzino clan. For now, let's step inside the castle and see if the fabulous interior offers any answers. Or maybe just better dressed questions. It's 1744. After fleeing Vienna under the shadow of scandal, Radu Cantacuzino brings the Viennese style back to Romania. Oh wait, this castle was built 157 years later, wasn't it? It's just that Cantacuzino Castle isn't just a fortress, it's a Viennese showroom masquerading as a Romanian palace. The marble under your feet? Carved, polished and shipped from Vienna. The stained glass windows? Vienna. The wrought iron banisters curling like Gothic handwriting? Vienna. Even the chandeliers, dangling in the grand halls like jewelled guillotines, were imported straight from the Habsburg capital. It's as if the entire decor never got the memo that the family had fallen from grace, still conspiring with the Viennese aristocrats long after Radu fled town. Yeah, this restaurant, underground. Love how the ceilings never change, no matter where you are in the world. Bricked vaults with arched tunnels, same pattern, same structure, same architect? Essa face never zoot. unlike the ghosts in these castle walls, clinging to every brick. And so we reach the end of the saga of Cantacuzino Castle. Once a jewel, now a Netflix set. How did their grand estate slip from their fingers? In short, communists. Those who steal from the rich, like the rich steal from, well, you know the story. After the regime fell, the family reacquired the castle, selling it promptly, like a cursed toy. The story they left behind: conspiracies, whispered intrigues, polite backstabbings, a family caught between empires, professing loyalty to one, while secretly always plotting with the Habsburgs. The Cantacuzinos claiming that they descended from Byzantine emperors? Yeah, the story is tempting, even plausible, had Radu not royally spoiled the script. Radu, the master playwright of made-up genealogies, spinning stories like spiderwebs until history and imagination become entangled. Once lies take centre stage, trust crumbles, and even the grandest legacy wears a hollow crown. They've got princes with multiple birth dates, shifting death dates, and Satan penciled in as head of the family. It sounds like a theatre of dreams. Or nightmares. I would just like to thank the Cantacuzinos for providing such a prophetic performance. History? Take a bow on the stage that is life. And as the curtains fall, remember all you have are your secrets and your own shadow. My dearest shiny sharplings, if you have a thirst for more, like, comment and subscribe. I'll meet you where nightmares live, the dark and most comment sections. Adios, amigos. Darkness is a loyal companion. I hope you are too.